Good morning and welcome to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. I am located at 1563 Main Street in beautiful Peckville, Pennsylvania. And I am right here with you each and every Sunday morning on Bigfoot Country from 7 to 8 a.m. to bring you, the landowner, the information you need regarding natural gas development. And of course, and as always, I, Doug Clark, the Clark Law Firm, has not, do not, and will not, never have, never ever will represent a gas pipeline oil company, never have done it, never will. I represent the Pennsylvania landowner, royalty owner, oil and gas right owner for such items as including, but never limited to, gas lease negotiations, gas lease pipeline agreement negotiations, gas lease pipeline agreements, reviews and consultations. Again, I always preach about this and we'll probably touch on it some today, but the reviews and consultations, if you do one thing, again, put down the pen, pick up the phone. I guess there are a couple things. Pick up the phone, give us a call, and find out about reviews and consultations. If you are presented with an offer, and look, this is flat out commercial, but it's commercial, I believe, sincerely to help you. If you are presented an offer, I do these reviews and consultations all the time. I do most of them by phone, but anybody is welcome to come into the office, sit down with me. We do it face to face, but we can do it on the phone. I can do it with multiple people at the same time on the phone, located at different areas across the country. And what we do is you send me the agreement, you send me the offer. I do what necessary behind the scenes research that I need to do. Sometimes I don't have to do any, sometimes I need to do some. Then we have a review and consultation, either telephone conference, in-office meeting, explain your leverage, your options, what does the company really have the right to do, what don't they have the right to do, what is your negotiation leverage, what is the market, what have I seen for these type of offers in the past, have I dealt with these before, and in most cases, in almost all cases I have. And we go over those things, we talk about them, and generally speaking, including the call, the review and call usually takes 2 hours or less. So you're given a document, and many times this leads to many times tens of thousands of more dollars in compensation. Many times it leads to literally hundreds of thousands of more dollars in compensation, and sometimes even into the millions of dollars over the lifetime of a lease. Those aren't exaggerations. Those are true facts. So if you're just getting these documents, think about this. You're given a document from a company that they've drafted clearly for their benefit, and you just simply sign it. Or you find out what your rights are, and you find out, hey, I don't have to agree to this, or wow, I'm in an incredible leverage position, and then I can negotiate. And instead of the company giving me $20,000, I can negotiate and get $100,000. Or I cannot find out what my rights are. I can listen to the landman who works for the company, not me, the landowner. I can just go ahead and sign the documents because we see that worked out so well for so many other people in the past. My point is, if you are given any document whatsoever to sign, put down the pen and pick up the phone, at least do a review and consultation, and then you can be done. Or if you want to do further, there's other things to do, you can decide whether you want to do that. But gosh, guys, let's always make informed, educated decision and understand our rights. Understand our rights. You're listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. You can call us, learn about reviews, consultations, other representation, 570-307-0702. That's 570-307-0702. And go on, represent people for royalty issues, unitization issues. Had somebody the other day, literally less than, I believe it's even less than a tenth of an acre unitized. Meter sites, any and all contracts, estate planning issues, more and more with the clients as they transition and they're getting royalties and they want to do more with estate planning. Again, any and all oil and gas related representation, real estate transactions involving oil and gas rights. Get it done right. Don't screw it up. These are big mistakes if they're made. And just remember, always keep listening to All Things Marcellus each week at this time on this station. So, okay, I talk about, I say Well, it's rare that I see something new, but every once in a while you do see something new. A few years ago, I started to see this multi-unit well consent document and request that was going out in the northeastern part of the state. And my experience was it started with Cabot, and now we see a lot with Chesapeake, and then we see some with Southwestern, and we also see some with Chief. And I think, again, we're going to continue to see these grow, and this is going to be an issue that people will be dealing with for years into the future. And this is a good thing, in my opinion. It's a very good thing because anytime, I want to say this again, anytime the company wants you to sign anything, we all know, put down the pen and pick up the phone, but anytime they want you to sign anything, you must look at this as a potential opportunity. It may end up being nothing, but you have to look at it as a potential opportunity. I have again seen people offer $5,000, $10,000 and ultimately get paid over $100,000. I've seen that happen many times. And why did that happen? Because they saw this as a potential opportunity. And they said, we need to understand what is being requested, what our rights are. Do we have to agree? What is our leverage? Let's make sure we maximize our situation. I'm going to go through an example here today on a new agreement that I saw recently that I reviewed. And I said, hey, this happens sometimes. And I'm going to explain, why this makes absolutely no sense for the people who are being presented with this to sign it. It just makes no sense at this point. No sense whatsoever. None whatsoever. But there is a group of people out there who will just sign anything. And the companies know that. And so what do? They are not smart. They're not dumb. They're smart. We also need to be smart. So what do? They go out with people or two people who they know are going to sign anything, and they give them a terrible document, and they give them basically the bare minimum, virtually no compensation, nominal compensation, because they know the people will sign it. Even though what they're asking you to sign may be worth tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to the company, they know that if they offer some people $500, $1,000, a couple $1,000, they'll sign. They'll sign because they'll promise them future riches. They'll promise them other things. They'll sign. Or they don't even have to promise people sometimes. Some people will just sign. Again, what do we say all the time? Stop signing. Even if you signed every document you were presented before, don't sign the next one. Stop signing now. Pick up the phone. Find out. Quick little side case, I just had a client. He had a history of signing everything. So after years of signing everything, and there was a lot of things that this person signed, he came to me, and we did a review and consultation. And he was asked to sign something that the company told him that they had the right to do. So, again, here you have this scenario where you have a person who has a history of signing everything. Now the company comes to him and says, hey, we want you to sign this document. And he's like, well, I think I may get this one looked at. So, again, this is the first time in years that he's ever even, questioned anything. So the company says, hey, yeah, we have the right to do that. No big deal. We have the right to do it. He says, well, I'm going to just kind of look at this some more. So he brings it to me. So I look at it. I say, look, they don't have the right to do this. And here's the reasons why. And he says, I really feel like, and I went back and I said, you've been signing these documents. You didn't have to sign this. You could have negotiated more. You had all these opportunities to negotiate in the past, but you just signed. But now you decide how you want to handle this, but I can tell you the company doesn't have the right to do what they're asking to do. You have a lot of leverage here because the company needs to do what they're asking you to do, and you can say no. You also need to factor in whatever kind of weight that you want to give it. Factor in the history that you've been giving away rights, like candy on Halloween. You've been giving away rights for years. Now they want to do something they don't have the right to do. And you decide how much weight you want to give this also They told you to your face they had the right to do it, but they wanted you to sign this document because they wanted to be nice and give you extra money. So you weigh in that. You weigh in the fact that they told you, yeah, we could do it. And when you look at the lease and you go through everything, and I went through everything, so no, they don't have the right to do it. And then when I confront them, not confront like in a schoolyard or in a back alley. When I confront them, just face to face or by telephone and say, hey, reviewing this, you guys don't have the right to do this. Well, the answer then becomes, well, what's your client looking for? That's how it goes, essentially. That's a great summary. So they say we have the right to do it. They say we have the right to do it until you show them they don't have the right to do it. And now they say, okay, what do you want? So you could be at, $10,000. Let's say I'm making up numbers for a minute. Well, we have the right to do it. We're just being nice. We're giving you $10,000. Well, you don't have the right to do it. And my client is going to say no. And they say, all right, well, what do you want? Maybe the client says $50,000. And again, these are made up numbers, but the company gets in a pinch. They have to do it. All of a sudden, 5,000, 10,000 becomes 50. And again, I've seen it become much, much higher. Depends upon the client, depends upon how aggressive you want to be. A lot of different factors come into play there. But the key is you have to understand your rights and you have to assess your leverage in each and every situation. And I will continue to say this as long as I do the radio show. The landman in the company, the landman who works for the company, not you, the landowner, is not going to explain and teach you and educate you on your leverage. And your leverage may be in a phrasing of a few words in a multi-page, single-space lease full of legalese. And that's what you need to see. And I'm telling you, I pick up things today that, 10 plus years ago when I first started this stuff, I wouldn't have picked up on. But you get experience, and every day I do this all the time. So now I consider myself very good at assessing this leverage and advising clients. So that's why I preach these reviews and consultations as a great first step. And then if you have a bad experience, then hey, that's fine. Again, I always say the worst thing that happens is you know your rights and you understand your leverage and you have your questions answered. But what we found is that in most cases that I do reviews and consultations, it's just the truth. In most cases, the person signs a much better agreement and typically signs for more money than was offered previously. In most cases, that's just the truth. You're listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. Make sure you always join me each and every week at this time on this station for All Things Marcellus. Been doing the show since 2010. 2010, I'm not stopping. We're not stopping. So make sure you keep tuning in and give us a call. Learn about reviews, consultations, pipeline reviews, negotiations, gas leases, unitization, royalty issues, any and all oil and gas related matters. 570-307-0702. That's 570-307-0702. Now I'm going to cut this short. I usually run this first segment really long. I'm going to go a little shorter because what I want to do, we'll set it up here. I want to talk about, just multi-unit wells for a minute and what's going on. And then I'm going to explain how I did see a new agreement recently. And it really startled me because what the companies are asking is to allow a well bore to go entirely underneath your property in this case, and you not get any royalties from it because it's not going to be perforated to extract gas, but it's going to go underneath your property, and it's going to go underneath a bunch of properties until it gets to distant properties further away from the well. So in other words, let me re-explain this. So you have the well starts at the surface. We'll say it goes down 10,000 feet, makes a turn horizontally. So for the first 5,000 feet, that well is not going to produce gas as it goes through the first unit. But when it gets into a second unit, as it extends, so we'll say it's a 10,000 foot long well horizontally, the first 5,000 feet will not be perforated and will not produce gas. And we'll say the first 5,000 feet are located in the first unit. The second 5,000 feet of the well to its 5,000 feet to its end is in a second unit, and that area of the well, that second 5,000 feet, is going to be perforated with holes, and it's going to be fracked and produce gas. So that gas that's produced from the second more distant unit will flow through that bore, the well bore, through underneath all of these other properties who aren't going to get any royalties from the gas, and then come out at a well site, which is not getting any royalties from the gas because that well site is all located in the first unit. So the people who have the well bore under them in the first unit get no money. The people who have the well site and have a well that's going into the distant unit, they're not going to get any money from royalties. So it's critical that you say, why am I going to do this and what should I do about it? And we'll talk about that here as we go forward in the next segments. You're listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. Give us a call, learn about representation, reviews, consultations, 570-307-0702. I'll be right back. Welcome back to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. Give us a call, 570-307-0702, regardless of your location. You know, I know sometimes people think, this guy's up in northeastern Pennsylvania. I have clients, Washington County, Greene County, Armstrong County, Westmoreland County, Allegheny County, all actually pending right now. All across the western part of the state. Tioga County, as you guys know, I mean, I probably have more active clients in Tioga than anywhere else. I see Tioga as an area that really we need to be pushing back, as everyone knows. What's happening with these shut-in wells, to me, is outrageous, and we're going to do something about it. But give us a call. You know, if you're shut in, I'll just say real quick, as I say often, if you're in Tioga County and you're shut in for 8 years or more, and you have a vertical well that's holding you in, and you have 100 acres or more, and you're shut in, or even a horizontal well. But let me back up. If you're shut in for 8 years or more, and you have 100 acres or more, and I want to hear from you, I will do, in that scenario, a free review and consultation regarding your gas lease and whether I think you have a claim to seek termination of your gas lease. But it's very important. If you're getting these yearly shut-in payments, that you do not, if you think you may have a claim and you want to take advantage of this offer, please do not cash your check, your shut-in check, but send me in your lease before you do. I'll review it. We can talk. If you then decide, hey, I don't feel I have a claim, or I want to cash my check, cash your check and go on. There's no obligation whatsoever. If you decide, hey, I think I have a claim, then you're going to be in a far better position if you do not cash your shut-in check. Okay, so remember that. If you think, hey, I've been shut in a long time, and you get a shut-in check, with your pen, put the check down, pick up the phone. You're shut in for 8 years or more, have 100 acres or more. I'm telling you, I want to hear from you and see if we can do something about it. But there is no obligation and there's no fee in that scenario. So give me a call, 570-307-0702. Just in the last few months, we were able to cancel a couple leases. Well, the companies agreed that the leases have terminated. Otherwise, they wouldn't have. And so this is going to be a major windfall for the clients. Major windfall. So really encourage you. You have nothing to lose except an evaluation and getting information, which I guess that means nothing to lose. All right. I want to go back and I want to just explain this again because I know that this gets confusing. So I want to explain. Now, this is going to be important. I don't care where you are in the state. This is very important. What we're seeing now across Pennsylvania is that companies are drilling these horizontal wells much longer. As you know, if you listen regularly, I like to do real simple math. So, and use real simple round numbers. So, my example is a company drills a well, company goes down, we'll just use simple math, simple numbers, 10,000 feet straight down. Then they turn the well horizontally, and we'll say that they go out horizontally for 10,000 feet. So that horizontal well is 10,000 feet long, and we're going to pretend that that well goes into 2 different units, because normally most companies were drilling wells in Pennsylvania. They would drill to the end of the unit and stop. So wherever that unit was. But now the drilling technology, the companies are going much further. So there is a major trend. And if you haven't seen it yet, I promise you it's coming to you. that the companies now want to drill, instead of going only to the end of the first unit and stopping at, we'll say, a 5,000 foot long well, they want to go further. They don't want to have to stop and start at the surface and drill a new well. They want to just keep that well bore down below the ground, 10,000 feet deep. And instead of stopping when they go out horizontally for a distance of 5,000 feet, they continue, keep the well bore down there and go out another 5,000 feet into a second production unit, So companies are asking permission to say, hey, landowner, we'd like you to sign this document to authorize us to do that. And if you are given anything along the lines of a multi-unit well consent, a cross-unit well consent, any of those things, subsurface easement, as with any document, put down the pen, pick up the phone, find out about reviews and consultations, and understand your situation. So I've been dealing with multi-unit well consents for a couple years now. And I want to say one more time, I have to emphasize this. If you have a multi-unit well consent request, call Doug Clark, Clark Law Firm, 570-307-0702. I'll just leave it at that. Call, find out, do you have any leverage? What can be done? Can anything be done? You should be doing that. I'm telling you, you should be doing that. So I've been dealing with these issues for a while, and now we're seeing other companies starting to make these similar requests. And I also, as I do this every single day, I start to see little tricks in the agreements. I start to find these little loopholes that maybe weren't there before, or when a new company comes in to start presenting these documents, they tweak their documents a bit, and I can identify and adjust. I can see how they've adjusted or changed their documents, and I can identify why. And so then we talk about that. And we understand, okay, here's what's going on here, and here's what's happening. And we decide, hey, is this in your best interest to sign? And, one of the things is that many times it may be in your best interest to not sign now, to be open to signing, but not sign now, to leave open the possibility of signing in the future. But what's the hurry? Don't hurry. You're listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. So, if you get a multi-unit well consent, what they're typically asking for, again, I would real quick, you go down 10,000 feet when you drill. You go out horizontally 10,000 feet. The first 5,000 feet is in the unit closest to the well, or to the surface where the well is. The second 5,000 feet is a second distant unit. So the one well is going into two units. It's extracting gas from both units. That is a multi-unit well, or what some companies call a cross-unit well, going into multiple units with one single well and producing gas. Now, again, if you have today's show isn't just about this issue, but if you have that, you want to talk to me, I think. So if you're in this situation with a multi-unit well, the idea is that the well is going to be much longer. It's going to go into multiple units, and it's going to produce gas throughout the entire length of that well. So if it's a 10,000 foot long lateral and it's perforated all 10,000 feet, meaning it's fracked that whole area, then it's going to produce gas from that entire 10,000 foot long lateral from beginning to end, from the beginning of the perforation to the end. That's where gas will come from. And that's your typical multi-unit well. And again, I'm not going to do this show on that. Again, if you have that request, you should be calling me. You really should be calling me, 570-307-0702. Do a review and consultation. I really encourage it, because we got to figure out, should you sign this document or not, or what leverage you have, and can you improve it? And I'm going to say this. In some cases, you can improve it extremely significantly in some, and you better know if you're that case. So that is a multi-unit well where gas is being produced the whole length of the horizontal well. That's all that I've ever seen be requested until I think last week. In that case, a company sent the landowner paperwork. Landowner I've represented in the past We always, anytime this person gets paperwork, he sends it to me, we do a review and consultation. He knows it's worked extremely well for him, and it's literally made him hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So he sends it to me, and of course he doesn't really understand it. It's a kind of a complicated document, and it's entitled an option for subsurface well bore easement. So this is a new situation, a totally new situation. So remember what my example was before, and bear with me because I want to explain how this is different and how this is quite a bit different. So the landowner is presented with a document, and they want him to sign for what's called a subsurface well bore easement, which means, let's break that down, below the surface of the ground, and it's a well bore, and they're asking for an easement. So a typical easement would be like, say, a power line easement, that they're going to run power lines on the surface of your property. Well, here they're asking to have a well bore, which is the well bore is what they drill down into the ground to extract the gas. They're asking to have the well bore under your property and to leave it there. So we want to say, well, why are we going to do that? And we want to look at that. Well, in this particular case, and I haven't seen this before, this is very interesting to me. So in this case, let's go back to our example where we have a well that is drilled that goes down 10,000 feet in the ground, straight down vertically, then turns horizontally and goes out 5,000 feet horizontally into one unit, and then out another 5,000 feet into unit number 2. That again is our classic multi-unit well. And that well would produce gas from both unit number 1 and unit number 2. However, this request is a request that's being sent to all the people in unit number 1, that the well bore, that 10,000 feet down and 10,000 feet out horizontally, it's going to go, when it goes out horizontally, it's going to go underneath a bunch of properties that are in the first unit, and then it's going to go underneath a bunch of properties in the second unit. Well, in this case, this company actually does not want to produce any gas from this well from the first unit. So I believe what they would do would be they would not perforate the well bore as it travels the first 5,000 feet within the first unit, so that no gas from the first unit would enter into the well. So the 5,000 feet, the first 5,000 feet of the well would not produce any gas whatsoever that would be paid as a royalty to the people in unit number 1. But then, as the well gets in its 5,000 foot out lateral portion, horizontal, then they're going to start perforating it so that the well, the first 5,000 feet, will not produce gas, but the second 5,000 feet, once that well enters into the more distant unit number 2, is now going to be fracked and produce gas. So the people in unit number 2 are going to see gas generated from this well and receive royalties from this well that goes the entire length of unit number 1 in order to get to unit number 2. But during the people in unit number 1 are not going to get any royalties from this well because it's going to be sealed, we'll say, for lack of a better word, but it won't be perforated. So all the people in unit number 1 whose property is located above the well is going to have a well underneath their property that they get no royalties from because it's sealed. Gas isn't going in there. So the company says, hey guys, we'd like you to agree to allow us to do this. You're listening to All Things Marcellus with me, attorney Doug Clark. So the company says, hey, we'd like you to do this. We'd like you to agree. You said, well, all right. It sounds like this is probably going to be something that the company's going to make a lot of money to do, and it's got to be a big reason why they want to do this, and it's going to be definitely a benefit to the company, and it's definitely going to be a benefit to the people in unit number 2, but I'm in unit number 1, and this well bore is going to go under my property, and you want me to sign an easement to say that this well bore could be there forever. or until it stops producing, which could be 50 years. So who knows how long it's going to be. And I'm going to get nothing out of it, so I better look and see, what are you offering me now? So just imagine, think about this. Think before I give this away. Think about, here you are in unit number 1. The company wants a well bore to go underneath your property, and they may have other ones too in the future, but they want you to agree that a well bore can go under you, produce gas from a more distant unit, and not produce gas from your unit. And they want you to sign a document to allow that. What type of money, think to yourself, what type of money do you think they would offer? Well, in this case, the offer is $500 to sign the agreement, which gives the company 2 years to decide whether to drill a well. And then if they do drill this well and it goes underneath your property, they'll pay you an additional $500 if they exercise the option to drill. And then if they drill any subsequent wells, they'll pay you $1,000 for each subsequent well. So let's I'll break that down when I get back in the next segment. But I'm going to tell you, hopefully you're thinking that's not enough. That's my opinion. It's an opinion show. It's not a specific advice to anybody, but that's my opinion. And I'll explain why I have that opinion when I get back after this break. You're listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. Give us a call. Learn about reviews, consultations. Keep listening. Go to the websites, pagasleaseattorney.com, pipelineattorney.com. If you have a pipeline agreement offer and you're not going to pipelineattorney.com, I don't know why. Use it as a resource, not specific advice, but use the sites as a resource. And today's show and all kinds of prior other shows, hours and hours and hours, are available on the websites, pagasleaseattorney.com, pipelineattorney.com. So if you go there tomorrow, you can check out today's show. So do that, and I'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. Remember, give us a call, reviews, consultations, regardless of where you're located. 570-307-0702. And I'm going to real quick, Tioga County, we have to stop these shut-in wells. If you were shut in for 8 years or more, and you have 100 acres or more, and you're not receiving royalties under your lease, I will do a free review and evaluation and consultation to look at your lease and let you know if I think you have a claim, and you can decide to do whatever you want to do after that. But we have to stop that. It's 100% free if you're in, and there's no obligation whatsoever. You have to have 100 acres or more and be shut in for 8 years or more and not be receiving royalties elsewhere. 570-307-0702. After I do the evaluation, after we talk, we never have to talk again. I hope you have a great experience, whatever the answers are, or we can pursue something. But find out. I would be going out of my mind. I'm the lawyer, going out of my mind, seeing what's happening with people. So if you're one of those people and you're going out of your mind, give me a call. If nothing else, we can preach to the choir to each other, because this is wrong, and let's see if we can try to stop it, and then you can decide whatever it is that you want to do. But I'll tell you, just very recently, we had some very good successes. So really want to hear from you. And also, call before you cash your shut-in checks. You're getting these yearly checks. Call before you cash. Call before you cash. Do the review and consultation. All right. And the number, real quick, in case you missed it, 570-307-0702. So, okay, let me get back to, and I think this is just another great example. It brings in a lot of different concepts. The idea that the companies know that some people just sign anything. So, let me real quick, I'll try to reset this quickly. Here's the scenario. We have a horizontal well. The first, it goes straight down 10,000 feet, vertically straight down 10,000 feet. Now it turns horizontally, goes out 10,000 feet. The first 5,000 feet of the horizontal portion of the well are located within what we call unit number 1. The second 5,000 feet of the horizontal well, 5,000 to 10,000 feet, is located in unit number 2. The landowner gets a request to say, we're going to drill a 10,000 foot long lateral horizontal well. The first 5,000 feet are going to be within your unit. You're located in unit number 1. However, we are not going to perforate or produce gas from this well as it's located under unit number 1 or within unit number 1. And this well that we're going to drill under unit number 1 that won't be perforated and won't produce gas is going to be located beneath your property and many others. So we're going to go to you and we're going to ask you, will you agree to sign this document, which they call an option for subsurface well bore easement? Will you agree to sign this so we can put this well underneath your property? You get no royalties from it. It's going to be there 30, 50, 70, who knows how many years, and it's going to remain there under your property, and you're not going to get any royalties. But for us as a company, we're going to have a great advantage because we're going to be able to develop unit number 2 from a distant pad site, which is going to serve to our benefit. So there's a reason that the company wants to do this, and it's going to really benefit them. It's also going to benefit the people in unit number 2, and good for them. We want everybody to benefit. However, it's not going to benefit you. It's not going to benefit you. So the company comes and they give you this document. Now look at this document. It's 3 pages and then plus the acknowledgement pages. There's a lot of words in this document. So it's going to take you a little bit of time just to read this document. And the company in this case is offering $500 if you sign it. And then they have the option to run these bores under your property if you're in unit number 1. And if they run the first bore, they'll pay you another $500. So it'll be a total of $1,000 to have a subsurface easement and a well bore under your property. Now it's 10,000 feet, so you probably won't notice it. But it's under your property, doesn't have the right to be there, and you got $1,000. Well, think about this. I call this often, I'll say the option dilemma, where if you're a company, you say, hey, give this landowner a document, we'll offer to pay him $500, and let's hope they'll never take it to an attorney, because for $500 they may say, oh, it's not worth it, it'll cost me more money in the end. Well, here's the deal. We don't fall for that. We don't fall for that option dilemma. We don't deal with $500. $500 isn't enough. So in a case like this, we say, okay, hey, you want to run this well bore under my property, but you only want to pay me $500 to sign this? That doesn't even, cover my time and potential expenses to review this, consider this. Then I got to pay taxes on that money. And so at the end of the day, some people may say this is a joke. It's a terrible offer. I'm going to tell you, I think it's a terrible offer. There's no reason that you need to do this. It's benefiting everybody else, and you're going to burden your property for $500 initially, and then if you're lucky, you get another $500. And again, you pay taxes on that money. Not a good deal, guys. Not a good deal. And I'm going to tell you that I highly suspect, and I could be wrong, but I highly suspect that my client, if he ever signs or she ever signs, depending on the case, is going to sign for a heck of a lot more than what they're offered. They're going to sign for more than what they're offered. They're never going to sign something like this. Now, that's their decision, but I'm going to give them my strongest recommendation and explain it, and I think it's a real easy decision. But remember what I said in the first segment. Companies know that some people will sign anything. Companies know that some people will sign anything. So they bring you a document. My theory. They bring you a subsurface easement document for $500 and pay you $500 more if they put the well under your property that you're not going to get royalty from. Well, 2 things there. One, in my opinion, that's below peanuts as far as money goes for what's asked and what the benefit the company is going to receive. So, but they know some people will sign anything. So, you're lucky they even offered you $1,000 if you're a person, or $500 who will sign anything. You just will sign anything. Then they also have another, they think about these things. Hey, if we offer them $500, maybe people won't take it to attorneys and find out what's really, what we're really doing here and how it's not a benefit and why you may not want to sign it. So there's a lot that's being calculated in making these offers. And again, that's where reviews and consultations can be extremely valuable. But in a case like this, so you talk to this person and say, look, my theory in something like this, generically, not specifically, is, why in the world would you be signing at these amounts Why in the world would you be looking to sign this quickly? If they're going to go under unit number 1, and let's say, I'll use this example. Say they have 10 properties that they need to go under in unit number 1. And they start off by offering this, what I consider a joke of an offer, my opinion, $500 to sign, and then another $500 if we put the well bore underneath your property that you're not going to benefit in any way from, except for the $500 that we give you. You're listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark at the Clark Law Firm. Make sure you join me each and every week at this time on this station for All Things Marcellus. So let me get back. As is often the case, you need to ask yourself many times, what's the hurry? What's my big hurry here? Why am I in a hurry? So let me give you the example. You're in Unit 1, and the well bore is going under Unit 1 into Unit number 2. It's not going to produce any gas from Unit 1, only produce gas from Unit 2. So you're in Unit number 1, and there are 10 landowners, we'll say, that their property is in Unit number 1, that the well bore is going to go underneath their property. So what does that mean? That means that there are 10 landowners that the companies want to have signed a subsurface easement for this well bore to be allowed to go under their property and remain there. So if there are 10 people, and we know that some people will sign anything, then where do we think we want to be in the order? If all 10 people are going to sign, and we want to do the best that we can do in signing our agreement, where do we want to be? Do we want to be the first person to sign, or do we want to be the last or next to last at the end? Here's a general rule. You want to be at the end, because if a company is going to increase their offer and they know that some people are going to sign anything, they're going to start extremely low. Because if you have 10 people, let's say 4 or 5 are going to sign if you offer them $100 because they just sign anything. Then you're going to have some people that you kind of lean on, you talk, you try to persuade, and then they're going to sign things. Then you're going to have, say 2 or 3, 1 or 2, whatever that number is, who say, no, I'm not going to sign. This isn't a good deal for me. Great deal for you. Great deal for those people. I'm not against everybody else benefiting. However, I want something much more fair than what you're offering me. And so you say, whatever that number is, I'll agree to this, but you pay me blank thousands of dollars instead of one. And the company will have a decision to make. And in my experience, as a general rule, the people who wait to the end are going to be the people who get more money or get better benefits. Now, again, this is generally speaking, not specific advice. But let me give an example. And I want to state again, I'm going to make up some numbers to give an example. This is for illustration purposes. So let's pretend this is a scenario. You got 10 people, and we'll say the company is offering everybody $1,000 to sign these agreements. And really, the company knows that they would pay $100,000 in a heartbeat to get these 10 people to sign. But what they do is they go out and they offer $1,000 to each person to sign. And now let's say that 5 people signed right away for $1,000 each. So that's $5,000. So the company was hoping that they would pay around $100,000 for everybody. So you got 5 that sign right away for $5,000. That gives you, as a company, $95,000 in your pocket to sign the next 5 people. Then your land guys go out there, they convince, they buy some cookies and donuts and coffee, things like that, and they can a couple more people. Let's say 3 more people sign. So now you got 8 people that signed for $1,000 each. So the company was thinking, hey, if we could do this for $100,000, we'd be getting off great. Now we got 8 of the 10 people to sign for a total of $8,000. So now the last 2 people say, hey, we want $40,000. Company says, that's crazy. They say, well, fine, we don't want to do it. We want $40,000. If you agree, let me know. Well, if the company came in and they said, hey, we were hoping to get out of this paying $100,000 or less. We paid $8,000 to the first 8 people. If we give the last people $40,000 each, that would be a total of $80,000 for the last 2 holdouts. We paid the first quick 8 signing people $1,000 each for $8,000. So that means that we now can pay, if we agree to pay the last 2 people $40,000 each, we've paid a total of $88,000, and we came in $12,000 below our budget. So, what do you have from the landowner's side? You got the 8 people that signed early, they got $1,000 each. Then you got 2 people who perhaps did a review and consultation, and they held out and they were able to negotiate $40,000 each. So 10 people, 8 get $1,000 and 2 get $40,000 each. Now again, this is solely an illustration as to how these things may work. May. But what this illustration shows us is, and what history has shown us, is that people who are to the end tend to do better. Now, I gave a big example, a nice, easy math, extreme example, but as a general principle, as a guy who does this all the time, that's what I see. So when you get that document, what do we say? Put down the pen and pick up the phone. Keep listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. One more segment to go. Give me a call. See if we can help you. Reviews, consultations, any and all oil and gas lease or oil and gas representation. 570-307-0702. I'll be right back. Welcome back to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. Remember to join me each and every week at this time on this station for All Things Marcellus. And looking for representation, information, reviews, consultations, 570. Call the office, 570-307-0702. Talking about multi-unit wells and talking about a subsurface easement. Now, we're going to go like one step deeper here. So what happens is if you get a multi-unit well consent request, cross-unit consent request, you get a subsurface easement request, you should do review and consultation either with me or somebody who knows what they're doing, but you should do that. And let me tell you, like something that we would look for. Now, something that's come up recently in one example in a review and consultation. There can be hidden language, which are gems for you as the landowner in your lease that you don't maybe know about or don't understand how it operates. So let me give you an example. So maybe your approach for a multi-unit well, and the company says, we're not going to give you anything. We're not going to give you anything. We don't pay anything. We're not going to give you anything. And if you don't sign, we're going to drill it anyway. Well, then go ahead and drill it. That would be my answer. But they say, we're not going to give you anything. We don't have to give you anything. We can drill it if we want. And most people say, well, when they get a request for anything, especially if you have deductions, most people will call and say, hey, I want to get no deductions for, if I sign this, I want to get no deductions. And, hey, maybe that's possible, maybe it isn't, but, that's a really big request or a big get. So we need to go through your lease in detail, and maybe there's some hidden language that you don't understand how it can help you, but it really can. And here's an example. Let me give you an example. What if a lease said that you as a company are not allowed to commingle gas from 2 different units under the terms of your lease, that you're not allowed to commingle that gas? Maybe it says you can't commingle it at all. Maybe it says you cannot commingle it or combine it while it's on the leased premises. There's different language that can occur here, but if your lease says that you cannot combine gas from more than 1 unit, you can't commingle it either on your property or under the terms of the lease, well, if they're going to drill a multi-unit well that's going to go into your unit and then another unit and produce gas, well, they can't do that. And if you don't review and you don't look at that and you don't say anything, well, they may do it anyway and you never find out about it. But if you can identify that and say, hey, company, you say you don't want to give me anything, and you say you can do this, but I have this provision in my lease that says you can't combine gas from my unit with other units before it's measured. And you're not going to do that here. So you better start talking to me about additional benefits. You better start at least addressing my request and maybe granting it for no deductions, because you aren't allowed to do what you want to do. And this is a big deal, and I have this unique lease language in my lease. So we're looking for things like that, which can provide you an incredible amount of leverage that you may not otherwise know of. And you may sign away this leverage and never knowing, that it could be worth changing your royalty to be without deductions forever under the lease. That's just an example, and I'm not saying it happens all the time, but I'm saying that you need to identify these things. Another is sometimes you have some very unique pipeline language. Not even unique. Sometimes I think some common pipeline language creates some problems for multi-unit wells, meaning that, say your gas lease says that the only pipelines on your property can carry gas produced from your property and your unit. So when you start now extracting gas from one single well for not only your unit but other distant units, can you transport that gas across the person's property if their gas lease says that the only pipelines that can transport gas on their property is gas within their unit? Well, I would say you can't do that. You can't. So these things come into play when you're looking at pipeline agreements as well, but also in multi-unit well agreements. So you can be signing a multi-unit well agreement and not realizing what other type of impact it may have on you in other areas. So again, and again, it's the broken record time. Reviews and consultations. The radio show is general information, never specific advice. The specific advice is always get specific advice, but that's what you should be doing. You should not be signing these agreements. You may have leverage that maybe can get you no deductions, maybe can get you lump sum payments, but gosh, you have to identify it. You have to, and the company's not going to do it for you. Why would they? They're never going to do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. So whether you're dealing with multi-unit wells, cross-unit wells, these issues will be coming up for you. Tioga County, lease amendments, modifications, and ratifications. Put the pen down. Pick up the phone. Do not just simply sign lease amendments, modifications, and ratifications, because I believe many of these leases have been breached. And that's the way that you correct it for the company. So I predict an onslaught of amendments, modifications, and ratifications. And so you haven't seen them yet, but I really think you're going to. And the more I preach it, the more ears are going to perk up and red flags are going to pop up when they present it to you. And you're going to say, hey, that guy on the radio said this was going to happen, and here it is. And it's going to happen because I really believe a bunch of these leases are breached, and that's their way to try to fix them. So again, reviews, consultations, stop signing, put down the pen, pick up the phone. And again, I want to tell everyone out there in Tioga, I have to say it again, if you're shut in for 8 years or more, have 100 acres or more, and you've been shut in for 8 years or more, I will do, and you're not getting royalties, a free consultation, review, evaluation of your lease to see if I think you have a claim for lease termination. And we can talk about it, and you don't have to do anything, or you can do something. But if you want to do the evaluation and you're getting these yearly checks, if you get another check anytime soon, do the evaluation before you cash the check. If you already cashed the check, that's okay, but we'd much rather you not cash the check. So very important. And remember, it's limited. The free evaluation is limited to 100 acres or more, shut in for 8 years or more. I really want to hear from you. Tioga County, know that these multi-unit well requests and cross-unit wells, I totally see them coming to you as well. Be ready. Be ready to put down the pen. Be ready, because they're going to come, and this is going to be, what is it going to be? An opportunity, and we seize opportunities. All right, you're listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. Join me each and every week, remember, at this time on this station for All Things Marcellus. Been doing the show since 2010, and we're not stopping. Check out the websites, pagasleaseattorney.com, pipelineattorney.com. And remember, put down the pen, pick up the phone. The landman works for the company, not you, the land owner. And most importantly, have a great, great week, everyone. We'll see you next week.